welcome to today's episode. In this episode, we are starting an introduction to the laws of nature. What do we mean by the laws of nature? We mean the rules, the guidelines, the procedures, the principles, and of course, in short, the constitution that can be said to govern nature. And by nature, we are talking of the entire universe, which is not restricted to just the earth that human beings are living in, but also the solar system, including the sun, the moon, the stars, the other planets, the entire universe in short. So in this particular episode, we are going to consider the classifications, broad classifications of the laws of nature. How do we classify the laws of nature? What are the various forms in which the laws of nature exist? These classifications are really very important. The knowledge of these classifications is very important because it helps us to be able to understand the essence of the laws, why they are made, how to keep to them, how to abide with them, and how to keep oneself in check when one is going astray with respect to the laws, and to be able to have a scientific thinking with respect to how the behaviors of human beings with respect to the laws are evaluated. Because for those who are non-materialists, who believe in supreme being, who believe in heaven, there's going to be an automated system to evaluate the behavior of human beings on earth. The extent to which they have done good, the extent to which they have done evil. And that kind of system is a perfect justice system. It's not a system that can be corrupted. It's not a system that can be bribed. It's a system that really evaluates things based on the way they are really. They are really. So please sit by and enjoy this particular episode, which is on classification of the laws of nature. Enjoy the episode. Thank you very much. Laws of nature. Definition. That is to say, we want to consider the laws of nature, and the focus is on the laws of nature, the definition of the laws of nature. What do we mean by the laws of nature? We are talking about the constitution of nature. We know what a constitution is. A constitution is a document which binds the people in a specific area. And we are familiar with constitutions of countries. Every country has its own constitution. Political parties, they have their constitution. Organizations have their constitutions, like religious organizations, social organizations, and so on and so forth. So the laws are meant to guide the group of people existing within a certain space. So the same thing with the laws of nature. We are trying to understand what are the principles in nature, inherent in nature, the policies of nature, the rules of nature, the guidelines of nature. Indirectly, what can we consider to be the constitution in nature? So this episode, we are focusing on that. And we're trying to classify the laws of nature. Of course, we can have as many classifications as possible. So many. We have just tried to present a few or some of the possible classifications we can have. when we are talking about the laws of nature. We know the importance of the laws or constitution. A constitution guides the people that are binded together, that are living in a certain space. So the laws of nature is more or less like the laws of the universe. And when we talk about the universe, of course, we need not forget that we are talking about the entire space. What is called the universe, the solar system, not just the earth that we have. But of course, we know that this earth that we are presently existing in, we have human beings. We are sure of that. So we want to focus on the human beings existing on earth. But of course, we know there are planets, the sun, the moon, comets, and other heavenly objects. So the first classification we want to talk about, we can classify the laws of nature into natural laws and non-natural laws. What do we mean by natural laws? We mean that the laws that are embedded in nature itself. The laws are existing and they have been there right from the time of creation or from a long period in the chain of evolution. Whichever the belief that one has with respect to how the universe came into being. So the natural class, the natural laws, and then the non-natural laws. Okay? The non-natural laws, more or less like the laws that came to being, one way or the other, as a result of human beings living and observing some things, and then trying to find a way in which these laws can really define how their behavior within the space they are living in. So the word laws of nature that we are using, the phrase laws of nature, actually we are just using it in a generalized form to talk about the laws that exist within the space where human beings live. So we can talk about natural laws and non-natural laws or artificial laws. Of course, we can also classify the laws of nature based on experience. So we have experiential laws and non-experiential laws. What do we mean by experiential laws? We mean the laws that we could perceive based on our experience, based on our observation, based on our activities on earth. Because these laws exist, and we should take note of the fact that the laws have been existing, and we are the ones trying to bring out, understand the laws. For instance, the law of gravity, one of the important laws in science, have been there, but it was just discovered around the time of classical physicists like Isaac Newton. So there are many laws that have been in existence, which even though we are not familiar with, we don't know. And that is the essence of research. The research will uncover some of these laws, and when they are uncovered, the laws are now applied. And that's why when you even have a constitution, you have the constitution, and the constitution is written based on what is known at that moment. And of course, with time, the constitution is amended to reflect new discoveries. Even though with the laws of nature, they are laws of the supreme being, otherwise called God for those who are non-materialists. So the laws are actually there. We are the ones uncovering, but we are just using the time constitution to just describe those laws. And in the course of the classification, we will see that some of the laws, you discover that even some of these laws, sometimes you observe that some of these laws, they appear in different forms. And that is where some of the challenges in the contemporary times, that's where they arise from. You observe that, okay, this particular religion is saying this, another religion is saying this, and then you are observing some contradictions one way or the other. So the question is, which religion is right and which religion is wrong? Or could it be all these religions, all of them are right, all of them are wrong? So these are some of the questions that this channel tend to, bring out, tend to find solutions to, so that we can have an intellectual understanding of the way things are in the universe. We can have the knowledge, the facts, the truth about the universe, not based on our, peculiarities, on our bias, where you are born, your tribe, your ethnicity, your religion, and so on and so forth, but based on the intellect, because the intellectual exercise is universal. And then, once you know that, it will really help us in the way we relate with nature, because we are familiar with these laws, and then we can really put ourselves to check. We can really achieve much more based on our abilities. And of course, there will be less tension in the world, because sometimes you have different views, a particular group, religion saying this, another one saying this. Then it can bring confusion. And then, but this episode, this channel, the whole idea is to bring out all the necessary facts, so that everyone, irrespective of what you believe in, you can know what is a fact and what is not a fact. And that's the concept of universal truth. So, we can also talk about the third classification we want to present. The laws of nature can be written and it may be non-written. By written, we have some of these laws that are codified. You have some of the laws for those who are non-materialists. You have books, the book of the Christian religion, the Bible, which is a codification of the beliefs of Christians. Then you have the Quran too, which is a codification of the beliefs of the Muslims. Then you have Bhagavad Gita, which is also very popular in the Asian countries, the Eastern country, Buddhism, Hinduism, and so on and so forth. Now, the issue of which one of them is correct, absolutely correct, or absolutely not correct, is not for this edition, this episode. We hope to really look into a comparative discourse where we are going to see some of the peculiarities of the various coded words, coded laws as presented by the various religions. Of course, a detailed study of all these written words will see that some of the documents, some of the contents are similar or same, and some are different. So the question is, which one is correct? Which of these books is actually absolutely correct? And which one is absolutely not correct? The issue is one of the concepts, one of the activities that have caused problems in the universe with respect to challenges, with respect to religion. People are seeking for the truth. A person will say, this my own religion is the best, and it's the only one. The other person will say, it is my own is the best. And this has created a lot of conflict in the universe. But we want to say that religion itself is a product of man, is different from theology. And that is why you can still find the differences in the written books of these various religions. Because the religions, the books were written by human beings, one way or the other. Even if they had the inspiration, the spiritual inspiration to write, that element of the human nature is already there, and that can affect the way they have interpreted what they have seen. Of course, we believe the assumption is that there is actually the spiritual element, the non-physical part of the universe. That is the belief in this channel. So we are saying that the different persons who received the content for the various holy books, we are assuming that they received it from the right source. But even in putting everything down, there could be some errors terms of translation and putting in different forms from one generation to the other. That is enough to bring some of the changes, some of the differences that we find in these various religions. But in subsequent episodes, we look at religion versus theology itself, because religion is not the same thing as theology. Religion, simply put, is man-made, but theology is the real fact about the knowledge of God. So you can have the written laws and the non-written law. Of course, the written laws will also include the intellectual books written by scholars, scientific scholars, theological scholars, philosophical scholars, and some of the works written on tablets and so on and so forth over several centuries ago. You can also have, apart from written, it can be non-written, in the sense that there is no evidence of the documents being on something that can be regarded as on paper or the device whatsoever. This one is talking about the oral, the laws that are transmitted one way or the other orally. Most of the, until recently, for instance, the Ifa divination system, which is a traditional religious practice of the Yoruba people of southwestern Nigeria, was not codified for so many years until relatively recently, when some of those contents were written on paper. So that's an instance of non-written laws. Of course, as I said, whichever the concept, the issue of which of all these laws, whether written or written is correct, is for another day. And then we can also talk the classification number 4. We can consider the laws of nature to be physical or non-physical, in the sense that the laws that you can see, you can perceive with the 5 senses. The human 5 senses, you can feel, you can taste, so to say, and so on and so forth. So, those are the physical laws, and then you can have the non-physical, those ones that you cannot easily touch or feel or perceive in the material sense of the word. We believe you have enjoyed this particular episode, where we have classified the laws of nature into 4: natural, experiential, physical, and then written. And of course, there are other classifications which in the next episode we are going to consider. We believe you have enjoyed today's episode. Please, if you have, stay tuned to the next episode, which will be uploaded in the next few days. Thank you for joining this channel.